Rockwell Sheridan, a retired white-collar criminal, promises his longtime friend Jimmy James he is going straight and will never go back to federal prison for stealing money from banks again. No more fake IDs, social security numbers, false identities, and claimed have changed his life and was going straight as a movie producer. Jimmy James was the first OC local to befriend Rockwell when he moved to Orange County in the 70s. They lived together as roommates. Jimmy's a struggling musician who's remained friends with Rockwell throughout their checkered 40-year past and was convinced Rockwell had changed his life because he hadn't written him in prison in almost 20 years. Rockwell appeared to be a successful producer, driving a new BMW 730iL, wearing the finest clothes, eating in the finest restaurants, taking expensive vacations, posting and boasting of being part of the rich and famous living in Beverly Hills. Jimmy's dad dies, and even though Rockwell is a close friend of the entire Harris family, he was no-show Sheridan at the memorial. Disappointing the entire Harris family, but soon as Jimmy James got his small inheritance, Rockwell was there with his hands out asking to borrow $500. His reason was he didn't have the money to buy a plane ticket for an actor in one of his movies, and didn't want the embarrassment of his investors knowing he couldn't afford to pay for the flight. After a short resistance, Jimmy granted image loan to be paid back in a week. A week later, Rockwell calls asking to borrow $2,500 for another image situation and promised to pay in a week when he gets a check. Jimmy quickly said no way, but a persistent Rockwell doubles down on their friendship and swears on his mother's grave he'll pay it back, in front of his daughter Helena, who is very thankful Jimmy would trust her daddy and loan him money, saying, "Now that's a real friend." When time came to pay, Rockwell begs his trusting friend for another $2,500, swearing on his mother's grave again he'll responsibly pay his debt soon as he gets his check. When time came to pay back the $5,000, Mr. High Roller movie producer has the audacity to ask his trusting friend for another $2,000, bringing the total to $7,000 plus $1,000 interest. Rockwell swore on his mother's grave again he would pay it all back when he got a $50,000 check in a week, for sure. Jimmy trusted his friend and gave him an addition $2,000 and warned him of the consequences of defaulting on an image loan. "Dude, I need my money back, and if you don't pay me, don't plan on keeping this fake image I'm propping up. If you don't pay, I'll put yo ass on blast." Rockwell replies, "Man, no one else will loan me money. I'm paying you back so I'll have good credit." Rockwell finally receives the check, and on the day arranged for the big payback he shows up with $8,000 cash to pay back the entire debt, but secretly kept $3,000, promising to pay the balance in 3 days, and went to Vegas with it. 9 months later, after a string of deceptions, lies, and no-shows on promises to pay, the debt was never paid and their friendship was severely damaged. Jimmy realizes his friend is ripping him off and threatens to impose the penalty of defaulting on an image loan, putting him on blast and exposing his non-friendly behaviors to mutual friends and family on social media. In an effort to prevent his image from being tarnished by a once close friend, Rockwell makes a rare phone call to arrange a meeting in person in OC. The two calm the rhetoric and drink and laugh like they did back in the day. Everything seems okay, and Rockwell assures Jimmy we will show up on at Sammy's Original for sure on Saturday with the money when he comes to see his friend's band Ice 7 play. Rockwell once again lives up to his reputation as no-show Sheridan, standing up his Orange County friends, his best friend's band, and the friend he owed money to. Frustrated at the end of his rope, Jimmy James calls and texts him but is ignored. He goes to Rockwell's Facebook page and finds a picture of him from the night before, sitting behind a seafood tower with a shit-eating grin on his face with a caption, "Where the fuck do I start?" Enraged by the image, Jimmy made step 1 the terms of default and exposed Rockwell on social media by announcing they were no longer friends. Even though Rockwell knew it was coming, he is furious and begins calling their mutual friends, making up lies to cover his name and sending Jimmy hateful text messages. Mutual friends on Facebook begin chiming in with stories of Rockwell borrowing money from them and not paying it back. One morning around 3 a.m. Jimmy sadly misses his friend, recalling 3 things he taught him: how to make famous people like him, how to make a movie, and how to freebase cocaine, when he gets a phone call from his running buddy Andre, who knows the story. Andre lightheartedly jokes about the serious situation and suggests the scenario sounds like a movie and suggests making one, saying, "The nigga taught you how to make a movie, do it, cause this is some funny shit." More research into Rockwell's film company The Syndicate on IMDb uncovered there was not a single movie produced with his name in the credits, and it's possible he may be living a luxurious life by ripping off film investors and friends because they don't prosecute like banks. Inspired by the story and the loss of a friend by money, Jimmy uses knowledge acquired from his ex-buddy to create a synopsis, treatment, and finance a script but didn't take action. Now, 5 years later, he sees Rockwell at the 2023 NAMM show shuckin' and jiving, and he tells Jimmy, "I know you need your money, man. I'll call you tomorrow." But it didn't happen. The straw that broke the camel's back was when Jimmy caught wind of Rockwell having a party he wasn't invited to. Jimmy is prepared to share his story in a crowdfunding campaign and send it to all of Rockwell's high-roller Instagram followers and Facebook friends, exposing his unfaithful friend and raising money to make a comedy film about him. According to Jimmy, "People rip you off because they expect you to keep it to yourself. How could I when a fake movie producer taught me how to create a movie, then steals my daddy's money after swearing on his own mother's grave a bunch of times? I lived it, so I'm tellin' it." The ending to this unfolding drama cannot be written at this time because the situation hasn't been resolved. Here are 3 scenarios that can take place. Number 1. Rockwell repays his friend to clear his name. Although the friendship has been severely damaged, they get over it. Number 2. Rockwell refuses to pay, keeps the money, and the friendship is destroyed forever along with Rockwell's fake image. Number 3. Success of the Image Loan movie unites the 2 friends and they make plenty of money from their true story.
"I swear on my mama's grave, I'll pay you back next week. You're saving my image, my brother." "James, we've been homies for 40 years. I'm not gonna rip you off. I swear on my mother's grave."